Good morning, friends. We're going to discuss current affairs and wherever possible, we'll take notes. And I have a lot of notes to share. Any questions that you may have, please ask as much as you can. Of course, as you're familiar with the way we did the budget session. So, any questions that you would have, please ask. Okay. There's some questions which are of stock nature, but most of these questions are of current affairs nature. Okay. Here's the first question, guys. Let's get on with the business of discussing this. Okay. Who has been recently elected the Director General of the International Solar, what do we say, just a second here. Director General of the International Solar Alliance at a virtual special assembly. Ajay Mathur has been elected. As you would know the answer, Ajay Mathur has been elected. Now, the thing is, we need to know about ISA, International Solar Alliance. The International Solar Alliance comprises 121 countries. So I'll write as much as I can, my friends. Okay. So here's when it was started. It was started in 2000. Sorry, guys. Started in 2015. Okay. In 2015, and it today comprises 121 members, and most of these members are those nations. Most of these nations belong to the tropics, that is between 23.5 degrees latitude on either side of the equator. So these are located between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. That's why these are also called sunshine countries, or as the Prime Minister of India put this, Suryaputra Rashtra. Okay. Now, it is headquartered in a place called Gurugram. Gurugram is part of NCR, National Capital Region of India. And of course, you would know that, this was once called Gurgaon. Okay. Now, this organization's main focus is to reduce the dependence on fossil fuels like petrol, diesel, and all, and increase I don't know why it's just a second, please. I'll just share. Yeah, I did not share the screen. So this is the question. Okay, I'm so sorry, guys. This is the question, and you know, the International Solar Alliance. To recapture, the International Solar Alliance was started in 2015. It has 121 members. Its current chief is Ajay Mathur, and it is headquartered in the Haryana and NCR town of Gurugram. The major objective of this organization is to reduce the dependence on the use of fossil fuels like petrol, diesel, and other stuff, and increase production and use of solar energy, which is renewable. The technical word for solar energy is insolation. Remember this. What is this? The word is insolation. The word is insolation. Solar radiation. Incoming solar radiation. So if you look, this is how it is spelled, guys. Insolation. Okay. Incoming solar radiation. That's a technical name. Now I have a question. How much time does moonlight take to reach the earth? Anyone? How much time does moonlight take to reach the earth? Yeah, anyone can answer this question. I don't have a problem with this. In fact, it would be good if you could answer this question. Anyone, what time does moonlight take to reach the earth? What time does moonlight take to reach the earth? Anyone? Go ahead, guys. It would be fun if you to see your answers. No? Never mind. It's okay. I'll put this 8 minutes. Moonlight takes 8 minutes, few seconds. Venkatesh and Rajani says 8 minutes. Well, the answer is it takes 1.3 seconds. 1.3 seconds. Now, why would that be? Because see, the sunlight that we see now, we're up and early in the morning, and the sunlight we see today left the sun about 8 minutes back. Okay, the one that's touching our body would have left the sun 8 minutes back. If you look at the distance between the sun and the earth, it's about 14.8 crore kilometers. So that would mean that, my friends, you divide that by the speed of light, which is 3 lakh kilometers per second, you would get about 8 minutes. Okay. Now, to know the time taken for moonlight to reach the earth, you need to just look at the distance between the earth and the moon. The distance between the earth and the moon is 3.84 lakh kilometers. Now divide that by the speed of light, which is 3 kilometers per 3 lakh kilometers per second. So you would get 1.29 seconds, make it 1.3 seconds. So the distance between the earth and the moon is 3.84 lakh kilometers. Okay. So um, not 29 days, it is 1.3 seconds. So moonlight takes 1.3 seconds to reach the earth. It is true that moon doesn't reflect any, moon doesn't have light of its own. That is, it's not typically a luminescent body. But what it does is it reflects sunlight. So when the moon receives sunlight, it reflects it back to earth. Not exactly, it reflects back and it falls, some of it falls on the earth. So moonlight is reflected sunlight. Moonlight is reflected sunlight. That's about it. There's hardly anything extraordinary about it. So next time someone says moonlight, remember it's reflected sunlight and it takes about 1.3 seconds for it to reach earth. Okay, because moon is pretty close home. It's just pretty close. I mean, compared to the distance between the earth and the sun, it's very, very close. Okay. So this is an initiative that Prime Minister of India took in 2015, this ISA. It was conceived in Paris, but started headquartered in Gurugram. In the first, the major meetings have happened in India, and India is considered a world leader in, what we say, solar, or rather, in the use of non-fossil fuels. We are slowly going away from fossil fuels, but it would take time, a lot of time, because India is the third largest energy importer in the world. Remember, India is the third largest energy consumer in the world. Okay, the largest energy consumer is China, followed by the US, and then we have our nation. So let's look at the next one. India has become the world's first country to receive the Blue Flag certification for 8 beaches in a single attempt. The Foundation for Environment Education, FEE, which accords this eco label of Blue Flag, is based in Denmark. It's based in Denmark. Denmark, it is in Denmark, Copenhagen, Denmark, but we need to know what are these 8 beaches, and we need to know a little about each of these countries. So I'll bring in, stuff about each of these countries. Okay, guys, please, whatever questions that you might have, ask. Okay, guys, it would help if you would ask questions like, Venkateshan, Harika, Rajini, they came forward to share their answers. Please, everyone here, share your perspective. It's good, and ask questions. There's no harm in asking questions. Okay, it's good to ask questions. So I'll tell you a little about these 8 beaches. First, what are these 8 beaches? Then we will take it forward from here. The 8 beaches are Kapad. Sometimes I may get the pronunciation incorrect. If there is someone from that particular part of the world where, where the place is, please excuse me for that. Okay, Kapad, which is in Kerala. So beach, this is one. This is in Kerala. Okay. Then we have a beach called Radha Nagar in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Then we have this beach called Ghogla. Ghogla is a part of the Union Territory of Dadra, Nagar Haveli, and Daman and Diu. It's actually in Diu. You can make it this way: Diu, D-I-U. Diu is a small island below the mouth of Gujarat. Okay, if you look at Gujarat like this, this is where Diu is, very, very small. Then let me clear this first. Okay, the fourth one then. Okay, guys, fourth one would be Padubidri, which is close to Udupi. It's actually Udupi, which is in Karnataka. Then fifth one, so we'll put the numbers here. These are serial numbers. Okay. Kasargod. Kasargod. Again, this is in Karnataka. Sixth one would be, and there is one in Gujarat, Dwarka. It's called Shivrajpur. Shivrajpur in Gujarat, Dwarka. You can write Dwarka in Gujarat. Dwarka is also called Devnagari Dwarka. Okay. Then we have one in Andhra Pradesh, 7, Andhra Pradesh, which this beach is in Vishakhapatnam. This beach is called Rishikonda. Rishikonda, Vishakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. Okay. Vishakhapatnam. Rishikonda Beach, Vishakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. And the eighth one is a bridge, something called, just let me clear everything here so it does not clutter. The eighth one is called Golden, which is in Puri, Odisha. Puri, Odisha. So that's about it. And something more here. Just a second, please. I'm just looking. Yeah, it's getting recorded. Good. Now, what about this organization? So these are the 8 beaches that have been certified to be ultra clean, very safe for use, and these things have been maintained over the years. So let's write about this organization. FEE. You could write this. Gives blue flag certification. Blue flag certification to beaches and places along the sea. Normally beyond that also, but it's okay. Full stop. This was started in 1995. Sorry, 1985. I'm so sorry. 1985. 1985. Full stop. Lays down. LAYS. Lays down. Stringent and strict. STRINGENT. Stringent. Environmental. I will come to that. Sushant, Marti, I'll ask these questions here. I'll share these questions in a while. Okay, I'll just pick these questions in a while. So we have, yeah, we were discussing this blue flag certification being given, lays down strict or stringent environmental, educational, safety and access related, safety related, and access related. I'm going slow so that you could write. That's the idea, nothing beyond this. Okay. Safety related and access related criteria, CRITERIA, criteria that applicants must meet, and maintain, meet and maintain. This is very important. Okay. Meet and maintain. So meet and maintain, full stop. So this is the blue flag certification. Okay, Russell, the idea is to have those places which are safe, which are clean, which are where the access for all people of all nature, I mean even for the physically challenged, everyone, which is access, which is which provides free access, which provides unhindered access, and of course environmentally it has to be taken care of. Now the question here is, there is this question from Venkatesh, Sushant. Why are none of the beaches from Goa? But Goa, it's not that beaches are not there in Goa. There aren't clean beaches. But the problem with places like Goa is that there are for now. In fact, we are talking of this particular episode of getting these 8 beaches. The problem is that there are a lot of tourists in Goa, and that impacts the maintenance of the beaches. There's a lot of litter around. Of course, now things have improved, things have changed. Things have changed now. Things have changed in the sense that they have changed because of the Swachh Bharat campaign. That's about it. There is a greater awareness. Today, there is something in the mind that stops us from littering. Even if we would litter, we would do this with guilt. That is a very important change in behavior. Major reason why there are many beaches from Goa in this particular kind of cleanliness list and everything is because of the huge crowds that throng the beaches. Okay, I was there in October, but there was no one on the beaches, almost no one. In fact, I was told that this crowd would be like one less than 1,000th of the actual crowd. There are hardly 10-15 people on the beach. Now, yeah, Sindhuri, stringent action should be taken on public that litters. Yes, it should be, but then these are all behavioral things. Unfortunately, this cannot be imposed on people. Things are changing slowly. Things are changing, but today you see surroundings to be much cleaner, than otherwise. Okay. Now, coming to what is that? Is Devnagar Dwarka named for language? No. Devnagari. It is called Devabhumi. It's also typically called Devbhumi. Some people call it Devnagari. The actual name is Devbhumi Dwarka. Dev means Bhagwan Sri Krishna's land. That is how it is. Devbhumi Dwarka. Now I'll tell you a little about these, these particular what is this countries. So whenever we discuss countries, we'll look at a few things like we bring in the capital, we bring in the leader's name and the currency. Germany, the capital is Berlin. Okay, the leader is Angela Merkel. Angela, or actual pronunciation Angela. Okay, or you can actual pronunciation is Angela. We normally say Angela. It's Angela Merkel, and the currency is euro. Currency is euro. See, there are two countries that do not that have chancellor as the head of the government. Typically, you have the president and the prime minister for either the head of the state or the head of the government positions. But in the case of Germany and Austria, the head of the government is called chancellor. 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 Okay. Now, a little more on this, my friends, is that Germany is a leading member of the Eurozone. Let's go past this. And yeah, one more thing you could be asked in the exams is that, sorry guys, one major thing that you could be asked in the exams is the new airport that's open in Berlin. The new airport that's open in Berlin is called Brandenburg Airport. Brandenburg Airport, my friends, started 2006. That was the initial stuff, initial plan and everything. But over the years, corruption, bad design, bad planning, bad execution led to cost overruns and, of course, time overruns. And it opened recently in October. This airport is going to replace the other airport in Berlin called the Tegel Airport. But the main airport would be this Brandenburg Airport. The new airport of Berlin is called Brandenburg Airport. Yeah, what is that? Is the chancellor elected by people? Yes, the chancellor is elected. I mean, the chancellor is elected not by the people, by the party, directly by the people. Parties. It's like an Indian election, parliamentary election. Typically, you have it's not the American system where people elect the president directly. Here, what happens is that the elections are held. The party that gets a majority of seats gets a chance to elect one of the party members as the chancellor. Typically, the way the prime minister in India is elected by the majority party or the party with the chance to form the government. So indirect, basically. United Nations, of course, United States, that it's the world's fourth largest country by area and the third largest by population. Okay, population is about 31 crore and 31 crore is the population of the United States, and area is about 95 lakh square kilometers, little over 95. So when I say 95, it's between 95 and 96. Okay, I take the lower end. The capital is Washington, D.C. You know this, Washington, D.C. DC is District of Columbia. America has 50 states and one federal district, and this federal district is called District of Columbia. Okay, this is directly controlled by the U.S. government. U.S. government. The president is Joseph Biden. Joseph Biden, and the vice president is Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. We know these names, so quite familiar. Let's not get there. Let's move on to UK. You know the capital is London, and of course. I'll come to that. Yeah. London, and UK's Prime Minister is Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson. He's typically called Bojo. You know, when you read these kinds of things, now you know that that's how the guy is named, Bojo. Like Angela Merkel is typically called the old woman. The old woman. If you the O and W in is capitalized. Okay, the old woman type. So Bojo, and the UK currency is called pound sterling. Pound sterling, or simply called pound. P-O-U-N-D, pound. What about Denmark? Denmark, my friends, is a tiny country. I have a map here so that you will become familiar on this. You see, this is Denmark. Okay, this you see this here, yeah, where the cursor is. This particular land is Denmark. But you need to know something here, that this group of islands called the Faroe Islands. Okay, I have circled this. This is a small set of islands here. Then Greenland here up here. They're all part of Denmark. They're all part of Denmark. Denmark looks tiny, but if you include all those stuff, all those other territories, it would become pretty large. So typically, this is called the Kingdom of Denmark. Kingdom of Denmark. The queen is not important for us now. It's run by a queen, but the prime minister is. Prime Minister of Denmark is Mette Frederiksen. Frederiksen. And some places you will find I here, which is okay. Frederiksen, and it's it has a currency. It has its own currency, the krona. Okay. Yeah. Next, if you have to look at more here. What is the other one? France. This is hexagon. See this, the shape of France gives it a nickname, the hexagon. It's called the hexagon. Remember, it's called the hexagon. Now you see this there. The capital is Paris. The capital is Paris, and if you look at the president, his name is Emmanuel Macron. The presidential system exists in France. President is the head of the state, head of the government. The prime minister is the one who assists the president. Emmanuel Macron is about 44 years old, pretty young chap. And importantly, you need to know that he's, it's like he's quite popular in the world, around the world, because earlier he had taken this, he was seen as a liberal, but now he's seen as, by the liberals, he is seen as a conservative, especially because after he's lost on, after he brought a new legislation piece against extremist Islam. Now, this is a country, my friends, that that places a lot of emphasis on secularism, on what is it called, on freedom of speech. That's the reason why there are a lot of there are a lot of lot of criticism against this particular person, Emmanuel Macron. Now, yeah, what is his Mayank? What is the capital of Denmark? Oh, yeah, did I miss that? Well, never mind. Here it is. The capital of Denmark is Copenhagen. Copenhagen. I'm sure that you would not like to live in Denmark, Mayank, because the tax rate at the marginal tax rate at the top is about 68%. Yeah, 68% of the income would go to taxes and everything. Okay, these countries look rich, but they have a lot of debt, a lot of debt. In fact, Denmark, Netherlands, these countries have debt of household debt of over 200%. Around, I think Denmark has about 258%. So over 200% household debt. That is 200% of annual income. They have a lot of debt. They live on tomorrow. They live on tomorrow's income. So, but it's a great place to go to visit. I'll also visit one day when after I get my passport. So here, that's about this. And what questions do we have about Aditi, who was the last Prime Minister of France? The current Prime Minister is more important. Okay, Prime Minister of current Prime Minister of France is Jean Castex. Jean Castex or Jean Castex. He's a Prime Minister, but not very important. Please know that. Naman, Germany and Australia. Yes, only two countries, Germany and Austria for Chancellor. Ria, how do you know so much? How can we increase? How do I know is not important. How can we increase your depth, our knowledge in depth? I mean, yes, certainly. That's a good question. How do you learn? Well, what you do is you read. Ria and everyone else here, Aditi, Mayank, Sinduri, Sushant, Venkateshan, the most important thing is to read. Read extensively. Now, look, it's not all reading and not having fun. You could always have fun. Netflix, hanging out with friends, eating junk, do everything that you're doing. But prioritize. The number one priority should be to build a career. Okay, you're preparing for the future. A future rather, the future for in your case. But if you look at general thing, the future is going to be pretty competitive, and it belongs to those who are skilled, who have knowledge, who are well informed. And you can be like this. You can be better than that. How? I'll tell you. After this class, Ria and everyone else here, please do this. Pick any topic of your choice. Any topic of your choice. Okay. See, I have this paper. Okay. There are a couple of things I've written here. That's okay. What you do is, let's say this is a newspaper or some newspaper. This is a phone. Okay. You can use the phone or you can use this. What you do, you pick a topic and tell yourself, I'm going to read a little about this particular thing. So Ria, you sound like a North Indian. The name is Ria Mathur. So Naman Sharma, Ria Mathur, you sound like North Indian. Your names are North Indian. Rahul Debnath. Debnath is Eastern India. Eastern India is typically a Tripura name, Debnath. Yes, Rahul. So when let's say you want to learn about the place you come from, so you tell yourself, I'm going to learn about this, but in the time that I'm going to spend, two things may happen. One, that I may not understand everything, and two, that I may not remember everything. It's always true. It always happens that we don't understand everything we read. It always happens that we don't remember everything we read. But it's important to read. It's okay not to understand everything. It's okay not to remember everything. So what do? You start to read. Then you get on with the work. There are some parts you didn't understand, never mind. You get on with that. And you realize that at the end of those 10-15 minutes, you realize that while you might not have understood everything and you might not recall everything, you still would have got some basic idea. It's important to get that basic idea. It's important to get that basic idea. You start building that. Every day you spend as much time as you can and spend it in installments. You don't have to spend it one go. Our mind doesn't work best, when we study for long, when we read for long. It's always true. Now, if you want to know about any country here, I can tell you that. You know why? Not because I know. I'm not showing off. Why? Because I can. This is easy to learn. Very easy to learn. See, I'll tell you how. Look at this. This is the Baltic Sea. This is the Baltic Sea. Here you see this particular water body is called the Baltic Sea. This entire water body. Now, these three countries, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, are called Baltic states. They were once part of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union existed between 1922 and 1991. There were 15 provinces. When the country broke up in 1991, the 15 provinces became 15 independent countries. And these three countries, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, were three of the 15 provinces. So how do you look at this? You know, other places you see this, you know, you have Belarus, fourth, fifth is Ukraine, sixth is Russia, seventh is a place called Moldova. You go west, east, you will find how many come? Seven have come. 8 Georgia, 9 Armenia, 10 Azerbaijan, 11 Kazakhstan, 12 Turkmenistan, 13 Uzbekistan, 14 Kyrgyzstan, 15 Tajikistan. 15 provinces. Now you don't need to be an expert to know this. You need to be a little familiar. Crimea, Venkatesan, is not a part of, you know, it's a part of, it's not an independent country. This is Crimea. You see this where, this is Ukraine, this is Crimea, where I've circled, that's Crimea. Crimea, or Crimea as it is called, remember, it was a part of Ukraine, but was occupied by Russia sometime, you know, sometime in the last decade. So please know that it's part of Russia, but not a separate country. Okay. Now, one last thing I'll tell you how to learn Ria. You see this Baltic Sea here. Now this water body has very low salinity, extreme low salinity, though it's a part of an ocean. Why? Because it's more or less cut off. A lot of ocean water does not flow into this. Salty water does not flow. At the same time, there are a lot of rivers that flow into this. Hundreds of rivers carry fresh water. Hundreds of rivers that flow into this water. So fresh water dilutes a component of, you know, salt in this water body. That's why this is probably the water body with the lowest salinity in the world. You can always learn. Yeah? Be a little careful. Tanmay, how to remember the important stuff? Well, you know what's important. You know, Tanmay, it's like, Tanmay is a Bong name and Bafna is a Marwadi name. I don't know how this comes. Anyway, you know, when you say Tanmay in Bengali, you know, Tanmay, important stuff, you know how to remember important stuff. You already remember a lot of important stuff. You remember, let's say, the day, you remember something as simple as your friend's birthday, your girlfriend's birthday. How do you remember that? Because it's important. Take things as important. See, you need to give that kind of importance to things. Otherwise, they will just pass away like that. See, 15th August 1947 is important to us. Why is it important to us? Because we became independent on that day. Now, do you remember anything happening on 10th August 1947? No, not much. Why? Because it's not important. We have never bothered to learn. So it is very important, you know, it's very important to realize that we accord certain importance. And we don't learn it for the exam's sake. We learn it to become better. Luckily, I learned all these things to become, you know, to learn things. I learned to learn things. Now it's my career. Yeah, you can always make it like that. You can always make it a part of your life. Learning should be part of life, normal part of life. Russia is Varun, both in Europe and you know, in Asia. Russia is in Eurasian country. Russia, it's pronounced Russia. Russia. It's a Eurasian country. It's both. It's there in Europe as well as in Asia. Larger part of Russia is in Asia. Remember, Russia is the largest country in the world. Its area is about 1.7 crore square kilometers. That's more than 5 times India's area. Okay, learn, my dear. Life is long. We got to build a career. One last thing, you see this Iceland here, where the cursor is. This is Iceland. This country's land is expanding. You know why? Because of volcanic eruptions. When volcanoes around the coast, you know, erupt, they release magma, and the magma comes down, solidifies around the coast, and that is how the land area is increasing. So it's probably the only country in the world where land area is increasing. Okay, not like China, which is occupying other countries, other people's territories. So I just put the map so that you would become familiar. The current affairs been bank. If you read CSE magazine, classes, monthly captures, newspaper along with banking, are these enough to do well? Yes, they should be sufficient. You know, I don't know who's asked this question. Akash Rosario. Akash, it's pretty good to read. Now, when you read, don't read it if it would come in the exam. Read it to become knowledgeable, informed. If it comes in the exam, it's a bonus. It's always a bonus. Okay, I didn't learn this because I would teach this. I wouldn't have thought about discussing Baltic states in this particular class. But when you learn, when you read the CSE magazine, attend all those classes, plus all these classes, plus go through the material that we share with you. That would be pretty good effort. So please do that. It would be, I wouldn't say it would be sufficient, because in exams GK is a large area and anything could come. Anything could come. So go ahead, read. But ultimately the idea is to do well, and you will do well only when you have knowledge. So these things will help you. They will help you prepare for the exam in the right way, no doubt about it. Plus they will make you better, knowledgeable. What better than that? PB Samant, who passed away recently, was a former, not much of a thing to discuss except the choices, Supreme Court of India judge. So he was, the answers highlighted anyway. UPSC chairman, who is UPSC chairman? Pradeep Kumar Joshi. Pradeep Kumar Joshi, PK Joshi. So UPSC chairman is Pradeep Kumar Joshi. Okay. Then Comptroller and Auditor General, he's the highest audit officer of the Government of India. Remember, the CAG is the highest audit officer of the Government of India. Okay. He can check the books of all government departments. He does that. He checks the books of, audits the books of all government ministries, all government departments. That's the term, government ministries, government departments. Now, apart from this, he can also check the books of private companies. It's allowed. Like, if it's in public interest, they can check, the person can check the books of private companies. Now, Comptroller and Auditor General, it is Girish Chandra Murmu. Girish Chandra Murmu. This person was earlier the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir. Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir. Who is the Chief Election Commissioner of India? Sunil Arora. Chief Election Commissioner of India, Sunil Arora. He is assisted by two persons. One is, see, there are two election commissioners and one chief election commissioner. That's Chief Election Commissioner. Then we have Sushil Chandra and Rajiv Kumar. So guys, Rajiv Kumar and Sushil Chandra. And what is this? How many judge? How many SC judge we have? We have 33 plus 1, 34 if I'm not wrong. There are no vacancies in the Supreme Court of India. Venkateshan, you can't go there, man. Yeah. I know it's a bad joke. So currently there are two election commissioners of India, Sushil Chandra and Venkateshan. Sushil Chandra and Rajiv Kumar. They assist the Chief Election Commissioner, Sunil Arora. Who's the Attorney General of India? The Attorney General of India is the highest legal officer of the Government of India. He is a lawyer of the Government of India. Currently, it is a guy called KK Venugopal. KK Venugopal. Okay, that's little about this question. I think enough. KK Venugopal comes from Kerala. He has been given an extension. Last year, he was given an extension. So from there, let's go this. Which of the following countries forces have recently crossed into Sudanese territory, marking the latest flare up in a long-standing dispute? It's a long-standing dispute, but not much as I wouldn't say it's a major issue. It's okay. I mean, see, this is Ethiopia, and the dispute is over this particular province called Al Fashaga or Al Fashka. You could write this. If you want to write, I can tell you one particular line. Vacancy for SC judge, the High Court judges can't apply. They have to be nominated. Their candidature has to be considered by the Collegium or the Supreme Court or the Government of India. Can suggest that. But only the President can make appointments. Okay. Ultimately, it has to be approved more or less. All these recommendations today come from what is that? They come from the Collegium, SC Collegium, which comprises the Supreme Court of Supreme Court's Chief Justice, that is the Chief Justice of India, plus 4 senior most judges. But the judge cannot himself, as a High Court judge, cannot say and look, I have the vacancies in there is a vacancy in SC, appoint me. No, it cannot happen. So Sudanese forces recently crossed into Ethiopia, or you could say Ethiopian forces crossed into Sudanese territory, depending on whose territory, how you look at this particular place. Okay, so I would want you to write about this Sudan versus Ethiopia. One line, just write one line. You write that place name, Al Fashaga dash, an area of fertile land, settled by Ethiopian farmers, Ethiopia, and you write Ethiopian farmers, that Sudan says lies, L-I-E-S, lies on its side of the border, comma, demarcated, or without comma I could write, on its side of the border, demarcated, delineated, marked at the beginning of the 20th century. At the beginning of the 20th century, 1903 is the right time. At the beginning of the 20th century. I'm just looking at the questions on the left of my screen. See, I'll come to those questions in a while, but let's look at this particular thing. So there is no particular reason for either country to fight, because on the ground there is no clarity as to where the boundary is. Now Ethiopia says the boundary is here. This is where the boundary is. Okay. Whereas Sudan says no, this is here. The boundary, this particular part is ours. And in the past, this is Sudan. They say this part is Sudan. Though Ethiopian farmers are here, Sudan had accepted this. Word of mouth. It's a verbally that it's okay. We will not disturb these guys. Let them be here. They have been here for generations now. But recently, Ethiopian forces say that this is ours, so we will occupy this. They will occupy this. But then Sudanese forces are also crossed into this. There's a short fight here happening now. But over the years, there have been no military forces in this region. Technically, no military forces, but just Ethiopian settlers. Okay, it's a dispute that there's no clarity as to who is right. Like in all disputes, like if you argue with a fool, it's a very simple life skill. Remember this, traffic. If you look at the road thing, in the beginning there could be a problem. You would know that this person is wrong, this person is right. After 2 minutes, you wouldn't know who's right, who's wrong. So never argue with a fool. This is a border dispute regarding one particular territory which is claimed by both countries. Now, I would want you to write about Ethiopia. Okay, Ethiopia. Just a second. We have one question. How many countries have border issues? Oh, just a second. How many countries have border issues? Sinduri, plenty of countries have border issues. There are almost no country in the world that doesn't have a border issue. Almost all countries have border issues. If not claiming territory, at least something to do with the border. Okay. Russia has, China has the most number of border disputes. India has, Pakistan has, Afghanistan has. Okay. Afghanistan, Pakistan never have their own border dispute. So plenty of things. Yes, Sushant, this is different from the Tigray conflict. This is the Tigray region. This is the Tigray region, which is a part of Ethiopia itself. Whereas this particular territory where the cursor is now, Al Fashaga, is a territory claimed by both countries. Tigray is a province in Ethiopia. Some other time I'll tell you the story of Tigray. This is where I spend my entire day learning about these kinds of places. Fun. Apart from watching TV. Ethiopia's capital is Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa. Nice name they have. Addis Ababa. And the Prime Minister is Abiy. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Abiy Ahmed. Abiy Ahmed Ali. Ahmed Ali. Okay. Abiy Ahmed Ali. Now, Abiy Ahmed Ali received the Nobel Prize for Peace in 2019. 2019 Nobel Peace Prize. He received it for ending the dispute with this country called Eritrea. This was a 35-year-old war. He ended the dispute. It's a long story. The currency of Ethiopia is Birr. B-I-R-R. Birr. B-I-R-R. Okay. So, Birr. Okay, I can write there also. I was putting the question temper panel there. So, from there, okay, we can go to Sudan. Sudan is this country whose capital is Khartoum. At one point, it was the largest country in Africa. Till about June 2011, it was the largest country in Africa. It no longer is. Okay. Sudan, Khartoum. The Prime Minister is Abdullah Hamdok. Abdullah. Some places you'll find Abdullah, which is okay. Abdullah Hamdok. One thing you can learn about Sudan is that this country recently turned away from Islamism to incorporate secularism as a law. The new law has said that Sudan is a secular country, though the majority of population is Muslim. They have come out openly and said that this is going to be a secular country. Okay, the currency is pound. Yeah, not all, because this is a question that has taken a lot of time. I'll skip the choices. This is a very dangerous country, Eritrea. It's run by a dictator, Afwerki Isaias. Very, very dictatorial. Okay. Goji Okonjo-Iweala has recently been appointed the Director General of the World Trade Organization. Iweala is from Nigeria. This is Iweala, my friends, and she's been appointed the new DG, the first ever woman DG of the World Trade Organization. The World Trade Organization. So I'll tell you a little about. Sorry, this is Nigeria. This is Nigeria. Sorry, this is Nigeria. Niger. Okay. This Nigeria. This is Sudan. You see, this is Sudan, South Sudan here. But in July 2011, South Sudan became a separate country. Otherwise, this would have been one country. Okay. Now, Nigeria. Let's write about WTO. Started 1st January 1995. World Trade Organization started 1st January 1995. Head office in Geneva, Switzerland. Okay. Then the Director General, she is the Director General. It has 164 members. The latest is Afghanistan. 164th member is Afghanistan. Okay. And from there, you can also learn about one more thing. You can also learn that the WTO's main job is to promote free flow of trade between member states, free flow of global trade. Okay, there are reasons as to why this, how this could be done, but that's for some other class, not today. That's WTO. Okay, and from there you can look at Nigeria. Nigeria, my friends, is this country whose capital is Abuja. The capital is Abuja. Nigeria's capital is Abuja. Its president is a guy called Muhammadu Buhari. Muhammadu Buhari. In Chennai, in all these places, there is a chain of restaurants called Buhari. It's not the same guy. Muhammadi Buhari. And the currency is, if I'm not wrong, Naira. Okay. This is Africa's most populous country. North of the country is Muslim, south is Christian. Okay. Anything that you would want to know? Yeah, one country you could learn about is this place called South Africa. South Africa, my friends, has 3 capitals. So this could be very important if you're from Andhra Pradesh. Okay, South Africa. It's called Republic of South Africa. There's 3 capitals. I'll write the names of the capitals in this line. Okay, Bloemfontein. Bloemfontein is a judicial capital. Cape Town is the legislative capital, and Pretoria is the executive capital. Now, neither of these is the largest city in South Africa. The largest city is Johannesburg, but that's okay. The president is a guy called Cyril Ramaphosa. And the currency is Rand. See, this 3 capital model has inspired the current government of Andhra Pradesh to come up with 3 capitals for this state. The 3 capitals of Andhra Pradesh are Kurnool, judicial. So I'll just write here, though it may not be very visible. Kurnool, this is for Andhra Pradesh only, okay? I'm writing in the order in which this is judicial. Cape legislative, it would be Amravati, Andhra Pradesh capital. Then Pretoria, it would be in South Africa's case, but in executive. But in India's case, Andhra Pradesh's case, it would be Visakhapatnam. So that's how it is, guys. Okay? Yes, India does benefit being a part of the WTO. For some other class, we can. Harika, we became familiar with South Africa capital these days, sir, because of I think the Andhra Pradesh model. Yeah, I think you come from Andhra Pradesh. US-China trade war still on. It is pretty much on, my friends. And if you want to know the consequences, the numbers and everything, in the next session, I'll bring this in. On Wednesday, I'll bring in I have the data with me, but I think it will take, this is the first live class, so it's a little difficult for us to bring in so much stuff. Which is in a particular reason why most headquarters are in Switzerland. Not much of a reason, except that Switzerland traditionally has been a pretty neutral place, and it's in the middle of the world. It's in the center of the world, and also the fact that it is it's a place where it's law and order, which is pretty good here, and it's pretty strict about certain things. That's about it. It's pretty peaceful one, center of the world. That's about it. Nothing more particular reason. So, and it invited countries to come. We have this building. You come here because it boosts the economy. It boosts the economy of the local place. Do you want to know about any of these countries? One particular last question about the rest of the countries. Anything else that you would want to know? We'll have to move from here otherwise. I'll come back to this. So this is Africa, guys, pretty much. You see this Madagascar here. This was once part of the Soviet Union. Sorry, the part of India. I'm so sorry. Madagascar was one part of India. Okay, about 110 million years ago, 11 crore years back, Madagascar was part of India. Madagascar is the 4th biggest island in the world, and it's the biggest producer of vanilla. Okay, this is Niger, Ghana here. Where is this? Yeah, Ghana here. And of course, a lot of other countries as well. So much to learn now. Use maps to learn. The Majigaon, what is that? Suez Canal. Right of Suez Canal, Egypt, right here. Just a second now. I'll just show you. This is where the Suez Canal is. Where the cursor is, my friends, you see this dots here, 3 dots. This is the Suez Canal. This is Egypt. For when Britain, France, and all these countries were ruling, European countries were ruling Asia. They in those days, I'm talking of the 17th, 18th centuries. They had to go like this. The ships had to go and move around the whole of Africa like this. Okay, that would take a lot of time, and the Atlantic Ocean, South Atlantic, is known for its storms, lots of storms. That would lead to a loss of life and property and everything. The more important thing here is that it would take a long time for forces to arrive in the colonies, and it would take a long time for raw materials to be taken from the colonies to Europe, and for the finished goods from Europe to come to the colonies. So what Britain did was, in 1867-69, this particular place, okay, you see this where I put the here, they cut this strip of land, turned it into Suez Canal, okay, 1867-69, and connected the Mediterranean Sea connected the Mediterranean Sea with the Red Sea, and this accelerated the pace of exploitation. You understand that? Oh my God, they looted Asia like this. No, we cannot talk about the Sinai province in Egypt. This is the Sinai province. Those of you don't know what's the Sinai province, this is the Sinai province. Okay, this is Sinai province. This is a part of Egypt. Nothing more. Okay, technically a part of Egypt. I don't know why it's not colored here. It's a part of Egypt. The Majgaon Dock Limited recently delivered the third Scorpion class submarine to the Indian Navy after trials and things. Karanj is one that would be Indian naval ship. Karanj is a third Scorpion class submarine. These are diesel and electric class submarines. Remember, the fuel uses electric or diesel. Extremely calm, and these are the Indian Navy has a joint venture with Naval Group of Naval Group of France. Remember, this have come from. This has a JV with the Naval Group of France. Okay, so they have. The idea is to build six. The idea is to build 6 submarines. 5 are mentioned here in the order in which these have come. Kalvari is already there. Khanderi is there. Number 3, Karanj has come. Later this year, in 2021, Vela would come. Wagir is likely to come again next year. Wagir is likely to come next year. And the last one is Wakshir. So 6 plus 1, 5 plus 1, 6. These are the names of the submarines. Okay. Chalo. We got the 6th one as well. Who among the following has recently become the fastest bowler to dismiss 200 left-handers in Test cricket? Ravichandran Ashwin. Yesterday, he became the second fastest bowler to take 400 wickets in Test cricket. Second fastest bowler. He took 76 tests to reach 400 wickets. Before him, there is this guy called Muttiah Muralitharan. Muttiah Muralitharan took 72 tests to reach 400. 400 wickets, test wickets. I saw the chart. I remember it that way. Otherwise, I wouldn't have remembered it. Okay, I wouldn't have known it. Okay, Ria, I wouldn't have known it if I had not looked at the chart. I got interested. Oh, this guy has taken just 4 more tests than Muttiah Muralitharan. You look at that fellow, James Anderson. He is the only pace bowler to have taken more than 600 test wickets. The only pace bowler, fast bowler, to have taken more than 600 test wickets. He's still playing. Boult and Southey are New Zealanders, and Broad and Anderson are English players. Naman Oja, who recently announced his retirement, was associated with, of course, cricket. I was quite surprised that he announced his retirement first class cricket. He wasn't a great, he was part of the Indian cricket team, and he played 1 test and 1 ODI. One test, one ODI. That's it. But he was quite famous in the local tournaments. These are called first class cricket. So I wouldn't discuss anything. But I want to ask you one question. What's the national sport of India? You know, what's the national sport of India? Oh, I'm glad I asked this question. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Vaishnavi wants to be different. Oh my God, so many questions. I'm happy you are answering. Oh boy, oh boy. So, well, Bhavna, you guess it's hockey. You know, the only person who has a different answer. Uh, you know, friends, India doesn't have a national sport. India doesn't have a national sport. Okay, hockey is not the national sport of India. India doesn't have national sport. Yes, Manasvi, India doesn't have a national sport. Okay, um, we don't have. Lakshay is also right. So plenty of you right. In fact, four of you right, not plenty, four. But the rest, my friends, now you learned that India doesn't have a national sport. India, that's what we have come to believe. We have been made to believe that hockey is the national sport of India, that Hindi is a Rashtra Bhasha. So India does not have a national language. This also is true. India does not have a national language. India does not have a national sport. Okay. The official languages of India are India's official languages are English and Hindi. They are official languages, not national languages. And um, national sport, some say hockey, some say kabaddi, but neither is. There is no national sport of India. But there is a national microbe of India. I want you to know. I want you to find out. The next class, you will tell me, all of you, not now, not now. Please tell me the name of the national microbe of India. This is your assignment for the next class on Wednesday. National microbe of India. Okay? Chalo. Inflation in wholesale prices quickened to dash in January 2021, then further easing to, of course, it's gone up, to 2.03% from 1.2%. So this is inflation. Inflation is a rise in the general price level. Rise in the general price level due to higher demand and lower supply. That's a simple definition. Rise in the general price level as a result of, I'll write it here. Rise in general price level. Price level. Okay. Rise in general price level due to higher demand, lower supply. Okay. Now, the major thing about inflation is it reduces the purchasing power of paisa. Reduces the purchasing power of paisa. That's about it. Sindhu, you don't have to remember all the numbers here. Remember only the main numbers. The inflation numbers are not important. Please know that. Inflation numbers are never important. Just to give you idea about inflation, there is a question like this. Our team has prepared this question. Okay. For me to give you information about what is inflation, there is a question like this. So when prices rise, our money buys less. So this is the decrease in the purchasing power of money. Okay. So Keshav, PPP, can we discuss PPP, GDP and everything in the next class? I'll bring in PPP, GDP, nominal, everything in the next class, Keshav. Okay, absolutely, I'll bring that in. So these kinds of questions help. In fact, I would write here, I have a pen, I have paper. So I would write GDP, PPP. So this will remain with me. I'll remember this way because I write a lot of stuff to remember things. I don't take anything for granted. I don't trust my memory. Okay. So now you look at this. Inflation is when the price levels rise. What is the opposite? When price levels reduce. Let's say in January it's 2%. It goes down to 1%. It goes down to, let's say, from 2.03%, it goes down to 1.9% in February. This would be called disinflation, which is the reduction in the rate of inflation. Disinflation is a reduction in the rate of inflation. Simple definition. Okay, reduction in the rate of inflation. Please discuss budget in the next class. Hey Manasvi, we have had a budget session, Manasvi. I think it would be the recording would be available. I discussed the budget in great detail actually. 2 hours I discussed the budget. Please look it up. I think you would have some video recorded session. Look it up once, my dear. So how is Indian rates, exchange rates affected and everything? Maybe this is not simply important. How deflation affects the economy? Deflation is a decrease in the price level. Deflation is a decrease in the price level. Remember, in deflation is a decrease in the price level. Now, when prices decrease, what happens is that there is no demand. Prices decrease because there is no demand. When there is no demand, would you produce goods and services? No, you would not produce goods and services. So that brings down economic activity. As economic activity goes down, what would happen is that people would not have jobs. When people would not have jobs, they would not have incomes. When they would not have incomes, they would not have purchasing power. When they would not have purchasing power, there would not be demand for goods and services. And when there is no demand for goods and services, again, there is no production. So it's cyclic. Got it? Very simple to understand this. Is disinflation means depletion, not depletion. It's the rate. I mean, prices are less pricey. That is, things are less pricey. Okay, that's it. When the disinflation is a reduction in the rate of inflation, deflation is a reduction in what we say. Deflation relates to decrease in price level. Okay. Sure. The HOPE probe has recently sent back its first image. This is the image that it sent back, okay, of Mars. Which country launched the HOPE probe? This is a good question to discuss. A lot of notes. Okay, one question. Percentage is based on what factor? That's a good question. Yeah, I talked about it. Never mind. Now I'm going to talk about what happened. Yeah. Yeah. What is this percentage on? Say 2% on what? 2.56% on what? 2.75% on what? So inflation percentage is on the price level that was there exactly 1 year back. So we are in the, what is this? We are in the fourth week of February, yeah, 2021. Exactly 1 year back, in the fourth week of February last year, whatever was the price level of a basket of commodities like rice, wheat, sugar, all these things. Okay, the government has a basket of commodities. It comprises over 200 items. So this basket of commodities, if it had cost 100 rupees last year, today it would cost 102.03 rupees. Means the rates have increased, the price has increased by 2.03%. So this percentage denotes, this is the percentage rise over last year's price at this time. That's it, nothing else. So if prices have gone up by 4%, it means inflation rate is 4%, which also means that the value of your money has decreased by that much percent. That's it. Exactly 1 year back, what was the price level? Over that, this is the decrease, this is the increase in price level. Simple. You can always learn like this. Next. The HOPE probe of this pen. The HOPE probe has been launched by the UAE, United Arab Emirates. I want you to write about this particular thing, the United Arab Emirates. Okay. The capital is Abu Dhabi. The United Arab Emirates, 7 kingdoms, 7 emirates came together to form one country, the United Arab Emirates. Okay. Then we have the king here, the president is the president actually, Zayed Al Nahyan. He's in news these days because his daughters one of these daughters has made an appeal to the UN for for freedom and everything. He tried to escape long back, and India played a major role in getting her back to her parents. Okay, yeah. Someday I'll tell you the story. I follow that stuff. Zayed is a president and the currency is dirham. Currency is dirham. This is the basic detail about UAE. Okay. Now I want you to write about this particular probe. You could write, sorry, you could write this now. Emirates Mars mission. Emirates Mars mission. I'll spell it here. Emirates Mars mission. Okay. Underline that. First point. First point. Uncrewed. Uncrewed space mission to Mars. Space exploration mission to Mars. Uncrewed space exploration mission to Mars. Next. Hope orbiter. Hope orbiter. Orbit means that which would go around the orbit of Mars. Hope orbiter launched in July 2020. Launched in July 2020 and reached Mars in Feb 2021. Reached Mars in Feb 2021. Next. Next. Write this. Launched from Tangeshima. Launched from Tangeshima Space Center, Japan. Tangeshima Space Center, Japan. Tangeshima Space Center, Japan. Okay. Launch vehicle, if you can write this, they may just ask you this question. Launch vehicle, Mitsubishi, it's a very large industrial organization, company. Mitsubishi Heavy 2A rocket. Heavy 2A rocket. Next. Its full name is Mitsubishi Heavy Industrial 2A rocket, but it's okay. Next. You could write one more thing. Joint venture. You could write spacecraft built by Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center. Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center plus University of Colorado plus University of California Berkeley campus. They have 12 campuses. University of California Berkeley plus University of Arizona. They may ask you this. Which of the following has not contributed? I mean, you never know what the examiners might ask. Last point. I think this is enough. Yeah. Why last point? You can write two other Mars missions in 2020. In 2020, China's Tianwen 1. China's Tianwen 1, and the other one is USS. It's called USS. Okay, America's Mars 2020. That's the name of the mission. Mars 2020. Mars 2020 in brackets. Rover Perseverance. They have launched a rover that will go around the moon. It's already there. You must have seen the pictures. Perseverance. Rover Perseverance. Rover Perseverance. So it's already sent. It's landed on the moon and it's landed on Mars and it's going around there, taking photos and sending us data. Okay. We can discuss so much about each of these countries here, but there's not enough time for us. So guys, this is it. Any questions that you might have on this? Let me see. So it was a joint venture between the UAE and JAXA. No, it was not a joint venture between the UAE and JAXA. Please remember, it's a mission. It's JAXA is the Japanese Space Exploration Agency. Japanese Space Exploration Agency. It doesn't have a joint venture with the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center. The rocket used was one Japanese company. That's about it. SpaceX, Naman, is a company that was started by one person, just one person, called Elon Musk. Sorry, guys. Elon Musk. SpaceX has been launched by Elon Musk. X is SpaceX here because there is a question. Okay. SpaceX is space exploration. X stands for exploration. So it was started by Elon Musk, who has a double BA, not anything else. He's not a scientist. Technically, he's not a scientist, but people refused to help him to launch rockets. So he learned back and learned things. And that was in 2001, 2006. He built the first rocket. He's also the CEO of Tesla. He's also co-founder of PayPal. He's also a co-founder of. He's a founder of the company called Boring. The Boring Company, Boring. It's not boring that I'm boring you. It's the boring the hole and the borewell, that boring. They are boring holes below the cities to build transportation networks. Very different work he does. Okay. Who sent the first Mars mission? The United States. They failed in their first attempt. India is the only country to have reached the Mars. Reached Mars in their first attempt. First country was India. Okay, Bhavna. But the first Mars mission was launched by the United States. So one country you can learn about is Qatar. Just one country that you can learn about is Qatar in this place. Okay, I'll just bring in Qatar because it's been in news these days. Qatar, my friends, choice 3 here, choice 2. The capital is Doha, and the king is Tamim Al Thani. His full name is Tamim bin Hamad bin Al Khalifa Al Thani. That's a full name, but it's okay. Yeah, Al Thani is the surname of the family, the ruling dynasty's surname. Tamim is the guy's name, and the currency is Riyal, RIYAL. RIYAL. This country, my friends, it's going to host the 2022 FIFA World Cup. 2022 FIFA Football World Cup. Okay. Next. So this is Qatar. It's a tiny country. You see this Bahrain here. Bahrain is a speck, about 780 square kilometers. This is the United Arab Emirates. And you see this in green here, Oman. But you see this country. There is a patch here, green. That belongs to Oman. So there is a peninsular portion in the up there here that also belongs to Oman. This is Suez Canal. This is the Suez Canal. This is called the Red Sea because 2030 Asian Games, Varun. No, not Doha, not 2030. I think, yeah, 2030 Asian Games. If you want to know Asian Games, I can tell you about Asian Games. 2022 Hangzhou in China. Asian Games. These are about Asian Games, guys. Asian Games. 2022 Hangzhou. 2026 in Aichi, Nagoya. Aichi, Nagoya in Japan. This is Japan. This is China. 2030 Doha, Qatar. 2034 Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. These are the Asian Games. Next Asian Games. Yeah. So this is how you can learn. You ask a question, I'll tell you. See, we don't discuss all the questions, is not important. The important thing is that we discuss what you want to learn, apart from what's already there. So Princely states, you see this Saudi Arabia is princely, is a kingdom. Oman is a kingdom. Haytham bin Tariq Al Sayed is a king here. United Arab Emirates, you know, is a kingdom. Qatar is a kingdom. Bahrain's king is Hamad bin Isa bin Al Khalifa. Okay, that's Bahrain. Kuwait, Sabah Nawaf Al Sabah Al Nawaf is the king here. Okay, these are the kingdoms. Jordan is also a kingdom. Abdullah II is a king here. So these are the kingdoms: Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Oman, what is this? UAE, Qatar, and Bahrain plus Kuwait. Other countries don't have kingdoms here. Why is it called the Red Sea? Because of the presence of an algae. In the Red Sea, there is an algae which gives a color red to the water. That's why. That's why it's called Red Sea. Nothing else. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, which of the following countries' navies recently conducted a multinational maritime exercise named Aman, which means peace in Arabic, 2021? That's Pakistan. 2021, Pakistan. 45 countries had participated in this exercise. It's been carried on since October 2007. So every 2 years it's held. Once every 2 years it's held. Okay. Recently it was held. Pakistan's area is about this much. This does not include. I'm giving the area just to give you that idea. Okay. 7.96 lakh square kilometers. Does not include POK and all that basically. So India was not a part of the Aman deal. 45 countries participated, but India did not participate in the Aman military naval exercise. Okay. The Pakistan's Prime Minister is Imran Khan. The President is Arif Alvi. He's in news for talking against France. That's why the French ambassador was French government called the Pakistani, what we say, chief affairs, charged affairs, because Pakistan does not have any ambassador in France. So they called him and said that this is not acceptable. Don't interfere in our affairs. Arif Alvi is the president of Pakistan. The currency is rupee. Indonesia, the world's largest archipelago. Archipelago means group of islands. Okay. It has more than 17,000 islands. 17,000 islands. So you won't have those, Gauri, you won't have these classes. Instead of those Monday to Friday classes, now we have these two-way classes. We have these two-way classes wherein we can have a talk, we can discuss what you want, because there has been a demand from the students to go for these classes. Okay, an increasing demand from students to go for these classes because they need interaction. There is hardly any interaction that is happening basically, because it was one-way talk. I would come and talk. Okay, this is the question. This is the stuff you need to write. So now we have a lot of stuff going on. You can solve your questions and everything. Archipelago is a group of islands. Atoll comes from the difference. The question is from Rahul. Difference between archipelago and atoll. Archipelago is a group of islands. Atoll is a small island which is typically made of remnants, of animals and all that. It's like a coral thing basically. It's an extension. Okay, it's a small extension of land. That's it. Archipelago. The president of Indonesia is Joko Widodo. And the Indonesian president is capital is Jakarta. The currency is rupiah. It was a Hindu country, Hindu and Buddhist country, and today it's the world's most populous Muslim country. Indonesia is the world's most populous Muslim country. Okay, yeah. So I think that's enough here. And it's the world's largest island country. Anything that you want to know? I think we'll keep learning about these things. Let's discuss one more question. for which lending institutions has RBI recently proposed a 4-tier regulatory framework. Non-banking finance companies, fourth tier would be, it's a little dicey thing. What is that? Sinduri, does Turkey come between Europe or Asia? It is both. A tiny portion of Turkey is in Europe, very tiny. In fact, European Turkey and Asian Turkey are separated. They are separated by the Bosporus Strait. Strait is a narrow channel of water that connects two water bodies. That connects two water bodies, separates two land bodies. But in India and Sri Lanka, you have the Park Strait, PALK. Okay, separates India and Sri Lanka, connects Bay of Bengal with the Indian Ocean. But Bosporus connects the Black Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, and separates the Asian Turkey from the European Turkey. But on the European side, there is a very small stretch. You must have heard of the city of Istanbul. Istanbul is split between Asia and Europe. In fact, it is the strait, Bosporus Strait is so narrow that you can see the other side. It's just connected by 3 bridges. 3 bridges connect Asian with Turkish Istanbuls. Okay, yeah. Just look it up after this class. Go to Google Maps, Istanbul, you'll find bridges. It's a very narrow strait, very narrow strait, narrow channel of water. Okay, it comes both in Asia as well as Europe. Kritika, what is that? AP Cabinet provides some scheme for EBC women. What's that exactly? I have no clue, Kritika. Let me check and I'll come back to this. Okay, AP government. I'm writing AP government scheme for women. I'm OBC or EBC women. Huh? Okay. I have written, Kritika. I'll get back to you, my dear. Okay. What about Russia? How about Russia? Russia, what? Australia is not considered what do you say, an island. It's considered a continent. It's considered a continent. That's why it's separate. I don't think there is an underwater tunnel between the 2 Istanbuls, Rahul. Let me check. Yeah, coming to the NBFCs, non-banking finance companies. I think Diksha, we just mentioned that Russia comes both in in Asia and Europe. There is some part of Russia that comes in Europe, and the majority part of Russia comes in Asia. So coming to NBFCs, you could write cannot. First point, cannot collect demand deposits. Cannot collect demand deposits. Demand deposits are of 2 types: current accounts and savings accounts. They're called CASA. I'll pick that question in a while. Okay, CASA cannot collect demand deposits. That one. Number 2, not part of the payment and settlement system. Not part of the payment and settlement system. Not part of the payment and settlement system. Number 3, DICGC rules. DICGC, you know this now. Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation. Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation, DICGC. Facility not available, no grammar, not available to NBFC depositors. To NBFC depositors. NBFC depositors. So if you put money with an NBFC, there is no way, if it collapses, your money will not come. Lucky if it comes back, but generally, normally when you go to put FD in a bank, up to 5 lakh rupees is insured with DICGC. But with NBFCs, no money is insured. No money is insured. And you don't need to know the multiple levels of regulatory 4-tier regulatory framework. But remember, at the base level, it's called base level, middle layer, upper layer, very upper layer or top layer. So in the base layer, any institution that requires supervision would be there, but normally, it is, it's very minimal government RBI intervention would be there in regulating the affairs. But next level is middle level. Middle level is where they would have intervention. The RBI would intervene if there is a risk of it collapsing and spillover effect. That is, its problems relate to, then add to the problems of others. Then comes top layer. Typically, top layer would have only those NBFCs which have collapsed or which may require stricter supervision. This collapses, a lot of people will go down, kind of thing. A lot of companies will go down, that kind of thing. Top layer may not have any. The RBI believes that it will always be empty because of stricter supervision at the middle and upper layers. One question I have found very interesting is that I read somewhere that most populous Muslim country was Malaysia, Ria. No. The most populous Muslim country is Indonesia, 26.6 crore population. 26.6 crore is the total population of Indonesia. Number two, Pakistan is the second most populous Muslim nation. Third is Bangladesh. Okay. I think fair. The Reserve Bank of India has recently set up a 8-member expert committee on urban cooperative banks to examine their issues and provide a roadmap for strengthening the sector. The panel is headed by former RBI Deputy Governor N.S. Viswanathan. He resigned a few months back, N.S. Viswanathan. So he had said. Now look at this. The RBI has 1 governor and 4 deputy governors. We'll just write the names of the 4 deputy governors. This is 1. Mahesh Kumar Jain, 1. Michael Debabrata Patra. Number 2. Michael Debabrata Patra. Okay. Then number 3. Let's write here. Number 3. Bibhu Prasad Kunango or Kanungo. Bibhu Prasad Kanungo. Number 3. Okay. Bibhu Prasad Kanungo. 4. M. Rajeshwar Rao. Diksha, Moscow comes in Europe, but large part of Russia is in Asia. Okay, don't be confused about these things. Yeah, you don't need to be. Just look at the map. Russia. Okay, Russia is what we say. Russia is split between Asia and Europe, and then you look at where is Moscow. Moscow is on the European side. That's it. It's simple. You don't have to worry too much about these things. This is it. What else? So M. Rajeshwar Rao, Bibhu Prasad Kanungo, Michael Debabrata Patra, and Mahesh Kumar Jain, 4 deputy governors of the RBI. We'll take 2 more questions. Which ministry is organizing the 26th Hunar Haat of indigenous artisans and craftsmen from across the country at the JN Stadium in New Delhi? Ministry of Minority Affairs. I'll give the names of the ministers. Nothing much to discuss here except the ministers' names. Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi. Okay. Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi. Commerce. Okay. So I'll come in order. Yeah. Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Ministry of Commerce and Industry is headed by the same guy who heads railways plus consumer affairs, food and public distribution. Consumer affairs, food and public distribution plus railways plus commerce and industry. So all are headed by Piyush Goyal. Piyush Goyal. Okay? So guy holds 3 ministries: railways, consumer affairs, food and public distribution, and commerce industry. Now let's look at the second one: micro, small, and medium enterprises. This ministry is headed by the same guy who heads road transport, and highways. Road transport and highways, headed by Nitin Gadkari. Nitin Gadkari. So one last thing: rural development, Panchayati Raj plus um, plus you write what is this? There's one more ministry: agriculture and farmers welfare. Agriculture and farmers welfare. Agriculture farmers welfare plus food processing industries. Food processing industries. Food processing industries. All four are headed by Narendra Singh Tomar. Narendra Singh Tomar. So 4 ministries: Panchayati Raj, food processing industries, rural development, and agriculture and farmers welfare. Yes, very good. I'm glad you guys know. Yeah, it's always good, Naman, Amrita, to know all these things, stuff. Okay, we'll take 2 more questions till we exhaust. We'll go till about 8:45, my friends. Okay. Whom of the following was declared winner of the VLCC? Okay, Miss India World. This is Manasa Varanasi. Manasa Varanasi is the VLCC Miss India World 2020. Okay. Coming to Manya Singh, she was the Miss India runner-up. Choice 1, Miss India runner-up. Miss India runner-up. And look at choice 2, Manika Shiokhand. She was the Miss Grand India. Miss Grand India. I don't know how they come up with these names. Miss Grand India. No clue, guys. I normally don't spend times on these things. Which Indian American Congress person has been re-elected chairperson of the House Foreign Subcommittee on Asia Pacific Central Asian Non-Proliferation? Non-proliferation means, proliferate means spread, increase. Non-proliferation means non-spreading, ensuring that weapons, missile technology, defense technology does not spread. So the name is Amit Bera. You know, I was surprised to know his name. His actual name is Amiresh Babulal Bera. Amiresh Babulal Bera. His parents had come from Gujarat. They had migrated from Gujarat to the United States. He was born in the US. Nothing to discuss except that look at the choice 4 there, Pramila Jayapal. Pramila Jayapal is an American congressperson. She represents Washington district, and this lady has often been in use for the wrong reasons. She once stormed the meeting. She tried to attend the meeting of the Foreign Minister of India, Subramaniam Jaishankar. She was not invited. And when Subramaniam Jaishankar got to know that she was attending, he refused to attend the meeting because he said that I will not attend with someone who's not invited. So finally, she had to drop out, and she said that she was being dropped because of her opposition to India's Kashmir actions. She's a Democrat, and remember that Sindhuri is asking what's the difference between Republicans and Democrats. The same difference between the BJP and Congress. Okay, they're enemies. Republicans are nationalists. They are pro-religion, pro-business. Democrats are typically pro-minorities. Okay, and when they say Republicans are pro-religion, I'm talking pro-Christians. And Democrats are pro-minorities typically, and they are generally pro-high taxes on businesses, which is not good for business. A lot of differences to discuss. We don't have the time. Which country's armed forces recently took part in the 72nd Republic Day Parade of India? Bangladesh. Bangladesh guys came in because This was the 50th anniversary of Bangladesh liberation. 50th anniversary of Bangladesh liberation. See, Bangladesh between 1947 and 71 was called East Pakistan. They fought a war. There is a reason behind all that. We'll not get into this because there's an MCQ class. We'll stick to facts. Okay. Between March 24th, 1971 and 16th December 1971, there was a war of liberation in East Pakistan, during which India helped the Mukti Bahini led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, which was fighting for, this Mukti Bahini was fighting for the freedom of Bangladesh from Pakistan. They fought the war. Of course, India helped a great deal. And in this war, Pakistan was defeated and Pakistan surrendered on 16th December 1971. In commemoration, in celebration of India's, to acknowledge India's contribution to Bangladesh independence, they came in and participated in the Republic Day function. Over 122 defense personnel from Bangladesh had come in. Okay. So, who is the Prime Minister of Bangladesh? Sheikh Hasina. Sheikh Hasina. This Sheikh Hasina is the daughter of Mujibur Rahman, the father of Bangladesh. Father of Bangladesh. I'll just tell you one fact. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was the first president of Bangladesh after it became independent. He was the president between 71 and 75. In 75, along with large number of his family members, he was killed by Pakistani-backed, military forces. Bangladesh military killed Mujibur Rahman and his family in the president's house. 2 persons escaped that. One was Sheikh Hasina and the other was her sister. And they were both in Europe at that time. And from that time till recently, India used to take care of these persons, these 2, Sheikh Hasina and her sister, protecting them and everything else. Tanmay, is India Puducherry under president's rule now? Yes, for now it is under president's rule because the local government headed by V. Ramaswamy had lost elections, had lost the trust of the House. Okay, Myanmar I'll discuss in the next class quite detailedly. Just yesterday I discussed Myanmar in some other place, but I'll discuss this in great detail. Yeah, in the next session. One last question, guys. Sorry. Who among the following won the People's Choice Award for the Wildlife Photograph of the Year 2020 competition? Robert Irwin. This is the photograph. You see, this is the Steve Irwin Wildlife. Just let me remove these questions, man. Steve Irwin Wildlife National Park in Queensland, Australia. This is a fire line that separates 2 parts of the same forest. Australia suffers a great deal of forest fires. Currently, there is one happening there. So this people liked it very much and they chose this particular prize, the photograph for the People's Choice. Okay, I was quite surprised with the photo. We'll not discuss all that, Sushant. Okay, this is not for this class. It's not important. The world's largest cricket stadium is at Motera, and this is known as the Sardar Patel Airport. Now it has been renamed to be Narendra Modi Stadium. Narendra Modi Stadium. It hosted yesterday the 3rd test, and it's going to host the next test as well as the next few matches between India and England. This is in all of Ahmedabad. It's in Ahmedabad. The stadium is called Narendra Modi Stadium. Hyderabad's airport stadium is called Rajiv Gandhi Stadium, and people were laughing, and the Congress made fun of Congress persons yesterday laughed that they named the stadium after Rajiv and Narendra Modi. Why shouldn't they name? There are 453 schemes, place names, organizations that carry the names of Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi, and Rajiv Gandhi. Do you know that? Yes. So they named one stadium, that too in Gujarat, where he was chief minister on 4 terms. For 4 terms, he was made, and he's the current prime minister. The stadium was named after him. What's wrong with anything like that? I don't know. But see, Rajiv Gandhi International Airport is there in Hyderabad. The stadium in Hyderabad is called Rajiv Gandhi Stadium. Okay. Thiruvananthapuram, it's called the Greenfield Airport. sorry, Greenfield. I think it's called Greenfield Stadium. Greenfield Stadium. I think, yeah, it's called the Greenfield Stadium in Thiruvananthapuram or Trivandrum. Lucknow, it's called Baramati. Baramati Stadium in Lucknow, this place. In Lucknow, it's called the Atal Bihari Vajpayee Stadium, if I'm not wrong. It's called the Atal Bihari Vajpayee Stadium. How do you keep up with GK? No, I think we'll not discuss this, Diksha. Okay, how I know is not important. What's important is that you work hard, my dear. You work hard, learn things. I mentioned a few tips as to how to learn. Start reading. Start reading. Things will work. So when you look at Sardar Patel's name, Sardar Patel, born 15 December 1875. Sorry, born 31st October 1875, passed away 15 December 1950. He was the first Deputy Prime Minister of India. He was the first Home Minister of India. He was the first Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of India. Yes, the last point is right. He was the first Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of India. Please know this. So after he died, after he passed away on 15 December 1950, the post of the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces moved to the President of India. Otherwise, the first Commander-in-Chief of India was Sardar Patel. Okay. I think we'll end it here. It's been 20 minutes over we have overshot the time. Okay. So we will come back. We'll discuss more questions in the next session. I hope you like this session. And my name is Bharat C. Jain. Should you have any questions, please bring those questions in the next session as well. Bharat C. Jain. I'm your teacher for this. I was your teacher for this class and the next few classes as well. Thanks for being here. I hope you learned a few good things today. I always recommend people to stay curious. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Okay. Have a great day. Thank you so much.